Now, despite the Galaxy S23 coming out, there's one simple question that still remains. Is the Galaxy S22 Plus still worth buying in 2023? Now, this is a question that really had me thinking, because even when we look at the S22 Plus after a year since its release, even looking at phones in this price range from the Pixel 7 Pro, the iPhone 14 Pro, etc., I still really think that you guys will enjoy the S22 Plus, even though the S23 Plus is around the corner. It has a very powerful Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip that is powerful enough to handle any app smoothly. It has an amazing battery life that was able to last me all day with no problem. It has a beautiful display that not only looks great when using it, but also has a great size that adds to its experience. And it has a really good software that'll keep you locked in because of its advanced customization and sleekness. And even though there are many great things about the Galaxy S22 Plus, it's not perfect and has given me some minor problems along the way. The battery life is good, but I wouldn't say that it's as good as the Pixel 7 or iPhone 14 Plus. There were many times where I feel it could be better if the screen had a better resolution, and the phone often felt very similar to last year and a year before that. But believe it or not, I do believe that there are many people out there who will enjoy the Galaxy S22 Plus, and hopefully this video will help you guys decide whether or not to buy it. Now, starting with design, the S22 Plus has kept pretty much the same exact look as the previous version, which is good and bad at the same time. It's good because they decided to stick to a design that people like, but it's bad because they played it safe and there's no innovation whatsoever. But besides the lack of innovation, the design is really good and reliable. So if they were to keep the same exact look, this is the look to do it with. And now, besides the camera bump, the phone looks the exact same as the S21 Plus, from the power button all the way down to the speakers, USB-C port, and the back. But looking at its color, the version that I have is Phantom Black, and this is by far my favorite color that's been released. It has the stainless steel sides along with a matte back that gives it that right amount of depth and really results in a really good looking device. Now, looking at display, the S22 Plus has a 6.6 inch dynamic AMOLED display that, just like the regular S22, was pretty good. Whenever I'm scrolling through my phone, it looked very nice, everything looked good, the responsiveness was very precise, and I pretty much had no complaints about the overall feel. But the only complaint that I had was the fact that the screen only had a 1080p resolution. Now, when it comes to refresh rate, the S22 Plus is at 120 Hz. Scrolling through the OS and many different apps felt as smooth as ever, and I was really happy that it kept up very well after a year of use. The display can also drop down to 60 Hz, which is really good for preserving battery life. So if you're someone who wants extra battery life and doesn't really care about 120, you do have those options. Now, coming back to the display, the bezels are pretty small. Right here, you can see that they're wrapped nicely around the screen and are much cleaner overall. The hole punch camera is also very small, so it won't bother you whenever you're using your phone. Now, when it comes to brightness, the S22 Plus is at 1700 nits, which is really good for whenever you're using your phone outside. No matter how much the sun was shining, I can see the screen perfectly, and you can also put the brightness to maximum if you need it to be brighter. Now, when it comes to the size of the S22 Plus, I can't say whether or not you will love it or hate it, but I do want to list some pros and cons that you can look out for. Now, the pros of having a big screen is that the viewing experience is much better, the battery is bigger so it'll be able to last longer, and bigger phones tend to have slightly better resolution. But the cons of having a big screen is that it makes it much harder to use with one hand. Trying to reach the top of the screen requires more work, and you'll need some pretty big pockets if you want to store your phone. But again, I want to let you guys outweigh the pros and cons because everyone's needs are different. Now, the responsiveness still holds up after a year of use, but something that I noticed is that my phone would get hot a little bit more often. And there were many times where even if it wasn't hot outside, my phone would become unresponsive. It would be at the most random moments, like whenever I'm charging my phone. And also if I was outside, whether it was cold or hot, the phone will overheat a bit, which was a big problem for me. Now, the resolution and viewing experience of the S22's display is an amazing benefit when it comes to watching videos. It was only 1080p, but it doesn't really look that bad in person. I was able to see everything very clearly when watching videos. Playing games on it was as fun as ever. And I wanted to give you guys an idea of what it would look like when watching something and playing the game.
So good. Here's Purdy. 17 seconds. Pressure from Parsons again. Gets rid of it. Jennings in stride, and he's out of bounds in field goal range.
Now, the S22 Plus has a 4500 mAh battery, which is a bit less than the S21 Plus, but on a day-to-day basis gave me the exact same results since I was able to last for most of the day. And mind you, I'm the type of person that is usually on my phone all day doing things like writing scripts, planning B-roll, shooting videos, scrolling through social media, watching YouTube videos, and texting my friends. And I'm usually getting over 6 hours of on-screen time a day, and I charge my phone twice a day, once right before I go to bed and one full charge on my portable charger. And most of the time I did use it to the max and it was still able to perform very well. So if you do get the Galaxy S22 Plus, the battery won't be that much of an issue. And if I could give a quick estimate, I would say that my battery is usually on 35% by the end of the day, which is really good. But again, I had some help since I used my portable charger. Now, the last thing that I wanted to touch on when it came to the battery was the charging. I use a 45 watt fast charger and my phone was able to charge from 0 to 100% in under an hour. But if you were to use a regular charger, it would charge a little over an hour. Now, looking at software, the S22 Plus supports Android 13. And just like on any other Android, you have the app drawer that holds and categorizes all your apps. You have the wallpaper system that is as smooth as ever and is also extremely customizable, and you have many more minor things that makes this phone feel even sleeker. Phones like the S22 Plus and S22 Ultra are very sharp when it comes to optimizing software, and mind you, these are top tier Samsung phones, so I'm not really shocked at all when I say that this phone does a really great job when it comes to Android 13. The software was very smooth and worked well. It felt just like the S22 Ultra, and I feel like most of you guys will realize that in terms of software, it's really not that much different from other top tier models. I also decided to test out some games on the S22 Plus. I play Asphalt 9, which is a game that can really test out the chip, and as you can see, it held up very well and I didn't really get any lags while playing. Now, the haptics weren't that great if I'm being honest. There were many times where I would have my phone on vibrate but would miss out on messages because I couldn't hear it. So overall, I would say that they're a downgrade from last year. And now the final thing that I want to note is that the S22 Plus will be getting 4 years worth of software upgrades. So when it comes to longevity, it's definitely got you covered. Now, just like the S22 Ultra, the S22 Plus has some really loud speakers that were pretty good whenever I used them. I would usually use them in the house whenever watching videos on social media or YouTube. And I didn't really have to turn it all the way up because of how loud they were on the lower tiers of volume. I tested out how they sounded when playing music. And if I'm being honest, they're loud, but just like every other phone, the quality isn't the greatest when the volume gets to the max. I also tested out the S22 Plus as my alarm, and I had no problem waking up to it. I didn't have to set multiple alarms, and I really didn't have to worry too much about receiving important notifications whenever I turned on my ringer. And right here, I'm going to give you guys an idea of how the speakers sound.
Here's Prescott. Pressure again. Steps in, just throws it deep as far as his arm can take him. Looking for Hilton. Oh, he caught it! A bomb on 3rd and 30 in his first Cowboy catch.
Now, the Galaxy S22 Plus has a 50 megapixel main camera, along with a 10 megapixel telephoto and selfie camera. And finally, we have the 12 megapixel ultra wide. And based on my usage over the past year, I would say that the pictures look really great, but kind of need work. Now, starting with zoom modes, the S22 Plus has a couple of different zoom modes, starting with 0.5, 1, and 3. And of course, the quality gets dumbed down a bit once you get closer, but I found all of the zoom modes to be great when compared to other smartphones. The shutter speed has gotten much better over the years, but there's still room for improvement, and I decided to test it out and show you guys by shooting a moving car. And as you can see right here, the camera was able to capture most cars no matter how fast they were going, but when compared to the iPhone or Pixel, they really weren't that good. Now, next up, I wanted to show you guys how the camera performed in different environments, and the first environment that I will be starting with is daytime. Now, looking at the outside photos, the selfies were okay at best. Personally, I think that as a person of color, they are lackluster and make me look way lighter than I actually am. Also, the sharpness on my face makes it look less realistic when compared to the Google Pixel or the iPhone, where the sharpening isn't overtaking the photo. And I also took some photos of random street objects, the sky, and different aspects of nature, and I can honestly say that the S22 Plus held up very well in these environments, and I'm really impressed since the sharpness did a lot better with the main camera. But when it comes to shooting video, the S22 Plus is a really good phone that was able to capture quality shots. You have many different modes and frame rates to choose from 720p all the way up until 8K, and as far as frame rates go, you have 24, 30, and 60. And me personally, I like to shoot at 4K at 30 frames per second, and this is because you get the most realistic movements. If you want it to be very smooth, you can also do 60 frames, but in all honesty, it's up to you, so you can really test out what each frame rate does for you. But besides that, both videos look really good. Now, the video stabilization was really good. I shoot videos with my phone, so whenever I'm shooting my subject, I can use everything handheld and the movements will be very smooth, which was pretty impressive. And also, here's some extra videos that I was able to get.
For the Galaxy S22 Plus selfie video.
So here's the final question. Is the Galaxy S22 Plus still worth buying in 2023? Well, if I'm being honest, I think that you really can't go wrong with it, especially since the price is bound to drop and the S23 Plus is very identical to the S22 Plus. So I really think you guys will enjoy the S22 Plus, especially in terms of value. And right now, all of the major Samsung model phones are on sale. And I would say that if you're interested in getting the S22 Plus, then you can either wait until the S23 Plus comes out, or honestly, you can really find a good deal now. But either way, you're getting a really good phone that'll last you a pretty good amount of time. But there it is, you guys, my review on the Galaxy S22 Plus. And if you have any questions for me, you can ask them in the comment section down below.